Hello, I'm Matt Fraser, and welcome to my pay-per-view event on the Learning ENX. Today, we're going to be taking a journey into developing clairvoyance. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Most of you already know me from my appearance on Blog Talk Radio, Best Psychic Directory, and my own personal website, simplypsychic.com. But what you don't know is clairvoyance has run in my family from generations to generation, starting from my psychic grandmother, who had this gift, who passed it on to my mother, who in turn has passed it on to me. I have answered questions for thousands of people with this incredible psychic gift, and tonight will be no exception, for you too will learn the power of clairvoyance. First, what you need to know is clairvoyance is broken down into three categories. You have clairvoyant, which is the ability to see, clairaudient, which is the ability to hear, and clairsentient, which is the ability to feel. We use all three of these wonderful abilities when performing a psychic reading. One of the first things that I'm going to teach you is tapping in. Now, I have always been in tune with the spiritual world from when I was just a little kid. I could tell you who was coming to the door, when the phone was going to ring, and I could even use this gift to communicate with those who have passed on to the other side. So, tapping in allows us to gain access into the spiritual world or into that vibration. You see, the spirit world is all around us, but they're on a different vibration. So to get into that vibration, we use a couple of techniques. The first technique is the white light technique. White light is used by many psychics for protection and also to gain access into the spiritual world. So what we have to do is envision this white light around our whole entire body. Make sure that you find a place that you're comfortable at, where you can sit at ease, away from any distractions. Make sure that you're not stressed out or anywhere where you're going to be nervous or disrupted. Once you get into that position, I want you to envision a glowing white light around your entire body. Once you envision this light, keep focusing on this light and focusing on this light. Doing this kind of sets you into a meditation, and it's going to allow you to pick up on a higher vibration. Now, as you keep focusing onto this light, you're going to realize that other thoughts are going to be coming to you. Thoughts of what you did during the day, or thoughts of your plans for the summer or plans for the weekend. But you have to remember that these are your own thoughts and are not coming to you psychically. You have to remember that a psychic thought runs right alongside your own thought. So what we have to do is push out our own thoughts so that we are only receiving pure psychic divine communication. So as we push out these thoughts, it may take us a couple tries to even see the white light around us, because you have to remember it's a different vibration. And clairvoyance takes a lot of time and patience. So if you don't get it at first, you have to keep trying. It may take weeks just to start seeing the light. But once you do, you're going to be able to start hearing and seeing things that you wouldn't normally be able to hear or see. You're going to be able to start hearing voices or whispers around you, and eventually we'll even begin to start seeing people or visions. This is how we know that we're tapping into true psychic divine communication. Now, you have to remember that the minute you get interrupted or open up your eyes, it's going to break that connection and break that vibration. So make sure that you keep your eyes closed and that you stay focused. Now, once you do it the first time, the more you keep doing this, the easier it's going to become. You're just going to be able to close your eyes, and it's going to be right there for you. You're going to be able to gain access into the spirit world so easily. So do this on a nightly basis before you go to bed, or when you're getting up in the morning. Just keep doing it, keep practicing, and keep gaining access. And when you first do it and you open up your eyes, you're going to realize that you don't really remember what you heard or what you have seen. And that's because the spirit world is on such a high vibration that when we bring that information back down to our own level or our own vibration, it's going to get lost, and we're going to forget some of the things that we heard or have seen. So that's why it's great to repeat this and keep going with it. Now, what I also want to teach you is a clairvoyant reading. And how we would do this is with just a simple jewelry reading. Ask somebody like a friend of a friend or someone who's distant from you if you could have a reading with them. because you never want to use friends or family. And the reason because is, see, a psychic thought, like I explained to you before, is so close to your own thought, it's hard to determine what comes through your own thoughts or what comes through psychically. So find somebody who you don't really know too much about and ask them if you could perform a reading. What you're going to do is hold on to a piece of their jewelry, because jewelry contains high energy, the energy that we carry around with us as well. So when you hold on to this piece of jewelry, just hold on and see what comes to you. I want you to hold on to the jewelry and again, close your eyes, envision the white light, use your clairsentience, clairaudience, and clairvoyance and see what you come up with. You may feel, using your clairsentience, that this person may have brothers and sisters. You may hear a name that comes to you, Katie, Jane, Barbara, some kind of a name. You may hear of a place like Florida, California, or you may see significant people within their life. And because you're using somebody who you don't know, you're going to be able to get validation. And the reason why is because you don't know this person, and the information that you're getting, only they will be able to know, and only they will be able to validate. Now, when you're reading clairvoyantly, you see somebody's life exactly like it is a jigsaw puzzle, with pieces from the past, the present, and the future. So you're going to notice that you jump around a bit. So even if things can't be validated at first, it may be something from way, way back in the past, or it may be something that's coming up in the future. So you never know with clairvoyant reading. Clairvoyant reading is anywhere from, that moment in time or from the past all the way up till 6 months from the reading. I mean, I still have clients who are calling in saying that things that I predicted a year ago are still coming true. So don't get discouraged if at first you're not able to gain this validation. Another thing that you're going to be able to realize is that our guides talk to us in all different symbols and messages. For example, when I see somebody during a reading who has been cremated on the other side, they will show me a chimney. And a chimney to me represents somebody who has been cremated. Now, if I see somebody who, let's say, is showing me lots of jewelry, or a wedding band, this would show me that the person has been married, or this person had a lot of wealth when they were in this world. But these symbols are just for me. And as you learn your clairvoyance, symbols are going to be a lot different for you in the way that you interpret them. So, for example, I know of a psychic that every time she sees blue suede shoes, that to her represents Las Vegas, and she knows that that person is taking a trip to Las Vegas. And you really, really have to go with your gut feeling and go with these symbols that come to you. And I'll give you an example why. One time I was at a house party, and it was my very, very first house party. And while I was there, I had a woman who sat down with me, and I began seeing a police officer. And I asked her, I said, "Who's this police officer around you?" And she says, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And I said, "Well, I keep seeing a police officer." And I says, "I don't know who this is." I says, "Could it be, a brother or something?" She says, "No, I have no idea." So then I told her, I says, "Well, now I'm seeing the name John." I says, "Whose name is John?" She says, I don't know anybody named John." I said, "Well, there has to be somebody you know." Nope. She said she had no idea. As I kept reading for her, I kept pulling deeper and deeper into the spiritual world, and still kept hearing the same thing over and over and over again. And I completely drained myself during the reading, and I began to doubt my gift. But then, when she got up from the table, she handed me a $10 bill. And I couldn't believe that she would tip me after what I kept saying to her was not hitting home. And then her sister came up to me afterwards and told me that everything that I said had been correct, but she just wanted to see exactly what I knew. So sometimes, you see, it's just that they don't want you to be able to know or see into their life. Some people are very guarded, and they really have to want a reading and be open to a reading for you to be able to read clairvoyantly for them. So really, don't get discouraged. Go with your gut feeling. Another thing that you could do is feelings. Feelings are all around us as psychics, as far as scents go. A lot of people, when you have people who died of, like, let's say, lung cancer because they were smoking, you'll get the smell of smoke. Or sometimes, if you smell let's say apple pie, maybe it was grandma's favorite or something. You get these scents and smells all around you. Sometimes you'll get the feeling of you can't breathe during a reading, and maybe you know that the person that you're reading for has an ailment where they can't breathe or has asthma. This is all part of our clairvoyance and our clairsentience, and we have to pay attention to every little thing during a reading. Now, one of the questions that I often get asked is if I ever predicted death during a reading. Well, what I have to say to that is one time I did have a lady who came to me and asked me how her health was. And taking a look, my guide pointed to her chest. So as I looked at her chest, through my clairvoyance and my mind's eye, I seen big thunder clouds. And I could not understand why I was seeing that. So I told her, I says, is there something wrong with your chest, or is there a problem with you breathing? And she says, yes. She says, I do have asthma. And I says, well, I would go to the doctor, I says, because this isn't looking like asthma to me. I says, this is looking like something much more. So she did listen to my warning, and she went to the doctor, and it turns out that she had COPD, and that the doctor only gave her about a year left to live. But this is how I had seen death in a reading. So sometimes it comes out very subtle, and I've never really seen a reading where I was told this person's going to die right away, or they're going to die very fatally. At least not yet anyway, and I hope it doesn't come up. One of the things you'll also see in readings are people that you may know. And a lot of times these are not your own thoughts. And the reason for it is because, just like I said with the symbols, you'll see people that you know during a reading in front of you. Like, for example, when I see my grandmother in front of me during a reading, I know that somebody's grandmother in spirit is coming through. Or if I see my friend Margarita during a reading, I know that this person is somehow musically talented, because my friend Maggie goes around the country singing and is a great performer. So when I see this, or her, standing in front of me, my guides are showing me that this person has musical ability. So you have to pay attention to every person, every place, everything that you see. Sometimes they may even bring forth the person just to tell you a name. Like if I see my friend Rachel, maybe they're trying to get through the name Rachel. So you really just have to pay attention to it. Now, as far as places go, people often ask me, Matt, how did you know I was going to Florida? Or how did you know that I was going to California? And sometimes what I'll see is a big map displayed in front of me. And this map will have all different states on it. And there'll be check marks or circles around each state. Check marks would be the states that the person has already visited, and circles would be the states that they're already going to. So by seeing this in my mind's eye, I'll be able to go and look and see where this person's life is headed or where they've already been. Now, although we use clairvoyant techniques not to use tarot cards, you can also use tarot cards to get you started. I know when I first started, I did use tarot cards, and here's how. Before I even looked up the meanings, I spread the deck in front of me, and I began looking at each card individually as I had them spread out. And you see, each card triggers a psychic vision. And that vision is a clairvoyant vision that will help you see into the past, present, or future. So at first, you use these cards and just look and see what visions or thoughts or people that they are triggering. And that will help you get started. See, when I first started using them, I was using the tarot cards, and then I realized that what I was hearing wasn't coming from the tarot cards, it was actually coming through my divine guidance and my clairvoyance. But afterwards, I just used to use the tarot cards to validate, what I was hearing on the other side, and making sure that they weren't my own thoughts that were coming through. And now, I'm able to use clairvoyant reading without the use of any tools. No crystal balls, no tarot cards, none of that. And you will too. Just keep up with practicing and reaching out into that vibration. I'm Matt Fraser, and to know more about me or about my work, take a look at my website, www.simplypsychic.com. And thank you so much for turning into the Learning Annex, and have a great day, and keep up with your ability.